Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Lola Consuelos is proud to call Kelly Ripa not just her mom, but her friend. The 24-year-old daughter of Ripa and Mark Consuelos appeared on her mom's podcast, Siriusxm's Let's Talk Off Camera with Kelly Ripa, and was asked how her relationship with Ripa changed from being just mother-daughter to becoming something more similar to friends. For me, I think when I went to university my first year, I was not happy at all. And also, it's so hard because your other friends that you grew up with in high school are also going through the same thing, Consuelo says. They're at a new school for the first time, and you don't really want to bother them, and a lot of them made great choices and went to much more fun schools who are probably actually having a good time. Alongside Lola, Ripa and Consuelos are parents' two sons, Joaquin and Michael, after going through a rough first few months. Consuelos says she felt like the only people she could turn to were her parents. Most cases, when you're growing up, your parents are always like, "I'm just telling you. When you're older, you're gonna wish you listened to me," she says. And there's so many times in my life where I'm now like, oh my God, I completely get it. And probably, if I have children, one day, I'll probably say the same thing to them and they'll tell me to F off. Although she admits that it'll probably be the same cycle, Consuelo says that's when things shifted for her in her relationship with her parents. "That's when I started feeling like I didn't really want anyone else's opinion but my parents," she says. You know that your parents actually, in most cases, and it's really sad if this is not the case, but in most cases, your parents actually have your best interest at heart. And also listen, I think it's not just a kid thing. I think parents have to grow as well and understand that when your child is an adult now, we can make our own decisions for ourselves and live with them, Consuelos explains. Listen, the shift happens until I do something wrong and they're like, "We're not your friend. I'm your mom. That room is my room. That phone is my phone. That door is my door," she joked. It's a warm afternoon in New York City, and Lola Consuelos, college graduate, aspiring singer, and daughter of daytime TV queen Kelly Ripa, reflecting on something that surprises even her. How her mom has transformed from an overprotective, no-nonsense parent into one of her closest friends. In the soft hum of a bustling downtown cafe, Lola speaks with a candid charm that echoes both her parents' charisma and a voice that is distinctly her own. Her mother, Kelly Ripa, known for her effervescent presence on Live with Kelly and Mark and sharp-witted charm, was once a figure of structure and boundaries in Lola's life. Today, however, she's more confidant than commander, a shift that, according to Lola, took time, tension, and a whole lot of learning on both sides. "I used to be terrified of her," Lola says, with a half-laugh, tucking a strand of chestnut hair behind her ear. "Not like afraid, but she was very strict when we were kids. There was always a rule, a schedule, a consequence. She ran a tight ship." The early days mom, the enforcer Lola, now in her early 20s, is the middle child of Kelly Ripa and actor Mark Consuelos, both of whom shot to fame on soap operas and have remained household names ever since. With cameras often rolling in the background of her life and paparazzi lenses occasionally intruding on even the most mundane errands, Lola's childhood was anything but ordinary. Still, Kelly and Mark worked hard to keep their family grounded. "My mom would always say, I may be on TV, but in this house, I'm your mother first." She took that very seriously, Lola recalls. "We weren't allowed to talk back. We couldn't have phones until high school, and you'd better believe there were parental controls on everything." Ripa has often joked on her morning show about being the mean parent, while Mark played the fun dad role. But Lola paints a more nuanced picture. "She wasn't mean," she clarifies. "She was just present. Intensely present. She knew everything, where I was, who I was texting, what time I got home. She even had a sixth sense about my moods. Sometimes it felt like she had eyes in the back of her head." During her teenage years, this vigilance felt suffocating. "There were so many fights," Lola admits. "I thought she didn't trust me. And she didn't, at least not fully. I get it now. But back then, I just wanted her to chill." The college breakthrough, the major turning point in their relationship, came when Lola moved out to attend NYU. Even though the campus was only a subway ride away from home, the distance created space for a new dynamic to emerge. "For the first time, I got to be me, not just Kelly Ripa's daughter," she says. "I made mistakes, figured out who my real friends were, and learned how to live in the real world. And I think my mom had to do her own growing too. Lola describes how, during her first semester, her mom stopped texting her every few hours and started checking in once a day instead. That was huge, she says. She gave me room. I could feel her biting her tongue sometimes, like she wanted to lecture me, but held back. And I started appreciating her more, not just as my mom, but as a person. One moment stands out. It was during finals week of her sophomore year, and Lola had a panic attack over a project. She called her mom sobbing, expecting a lecture about procrastination. Instead, Kelly just listened. She didn't say, "You should have started earlier," or "This is why I told you to plan ahead." She just said, "That sounds really hard. I'm here if you need me." That was the day I realized she was changing friends. Finally today, Lola says their relationship is nearly unrecognizable compared to her teenage years. "We talk almost every day. But not because she's checking in. We talk because we want to," she says. She sends me memes, and I send her music. She gives amazing advice. And she also knows when not to give advice, which is even better. Kelly, in her own interviews, has mentioned how becoming friends with her kids, especially her daughter, was never guaranteed. She's talked openly about the emotional balancing act of motherhood. When to protect and when to let go. Lola thinks her mom nailed the transition. "She waited until I was ready. I don't think you can make a child see you as a friend. You earn that, and my mom put in the work." This evolution wasn't one-sided. Lola had to change too. "I had to stop seeing her as just a rule maker. Once I got to know her outside of the mom role, I realized how funny she is, how smart, how strong. She has this insane work ethic and such a weird sense of humor. She's actually really cool." They now share everything from Netflix to skincare routines. They even share clothes though. As Lola jokingly points out, "She steals more from my closet than I do from hers." Lessons learned. When asked what she's learned from this transformation, Lola grows thoughtful. "I've learned that relationships evolve. Just because your mom is one way when you're 10 doesn't mean she'll always be that way, and you can love someone deeply, even if you fight like crazy for a few years." She adds, "I think for a long time, I saw her as this powerful, intimidating figure. And she is powerful, but she's also vulnerable. She worries, she doubts herself. She wants to be loved and understood, just like the rest of us." It's a rare insight that not all adult children come to. But Lola credits her parents, both of them, for making their home a place of dialogue. "Even when it wasn't easy, we were always allowed to express ourselves," she says. "That doesn't mean we always got our way. But our voices were heard. That makes a big difference." Fame filters, and finding her own voice. Navigating a close relationship with a public figure comes with its complications. Lola has had to carve her own path while constantly being compared to her mom. "I used to feel like I had to be her mini-me," she admits. "Same hair, same sense of humor, same everything. But I'm not her, I'm me." Her mother, to her credit, has never pressured her to follow in her footsteps. She always said, "Do what makes you happy, even if that means doing something totally different from me." That gave me the freedom to explore music, which is where my heart really is. Now working on an EP and performing small gigs around the city, Lola is finally stepping into her own spotlights, something her mother celebrates from the sidelines. "She's my biggest cheerleader," Lola beams. "She's at every show she can get to. And she's honest, sometimes brutally honest. But I love that about her." A work in progress. As close as they are now, Lola doesn't pretend the relationship is perfect. "We still argue," she says, with a smile. "We're both strong-willed, but the difference now is that we listen to each other. And we don't let pride get in the way." She shares one final story that sums up the shift. It was her 22nd birthday, and instead of a big party, she and her mom went for a walk in Central Park, grabbed matcha lattes, and talked for hours. "It was just us," Lola says. "No phones, no distractions. We laughed, we got deep, we even cried a little. And I thought, this is it. This is the friendship I didn't know I needed." As Lola Consuelos finishes her drink and heads off to a recording session, there's something clear in her demeanor. She is her own person, standing tall, not in her mother's shadow, but next to her. And in that space between childhood and adulthood, something beautiful has bloomed. The unshakable bond of two women who once clashed, but now connect in the most profound way possible, not just as mother and dog,